Hello, everybody, and welcome to another conversation with the Queen. Of course, the Queen being me, Stella Boem, Queen of Glam Tarot. I have with me Justin, also known as Justify. And first off, let's just say, fuck you. You are so handsome. Look,
Oh
look
my
at look
gosh.
at
Thank you.
him.
Thank you.
Look
Thank
at
you. I
this.
appreciate it.
Look at this beautiful being in front of me here. It's like you are, okay, so this might not surprise anybody or might surprise everybody, but I'm a D&D kid. I love the D&D games. I love playing those fantasy games. You're giving me such dark elf energy right now. You're just like, I know you're danger. I know you're chaotic. I know you're gonna be keeping me on the edge of my seat. And you know what? You're so beautiful. I'm still gonna go with it anyways. So
Thank you. I love
yeah.
that. I play my brother plays D&D actually, but I played a couple of times, but I like Baldur's Gate 3, so I'm always a tiefling or a dark elf. So I go between the two. So you're not wrong there. Yeah.
That tracks. That tracks. I haven't played Baldur's Gate 3 yet. I've played 2, but it's like when do I have time? It's always just sitting down
Yeah.
finding time because I'm the type that when I get wrapped up into it, like I just rabbit hole right into it. I mean, I
Yeah.
you saw me. You were there when I started writing this book here, which
Yes.
we'll talk about here in a second. And like literally that was my obsession. Like in my
Mm.
waking moments, if I wasn't at my day job working, if I wasn't performing, if I wasn't doing tarot readings, I was on my computer typing away. So it's like I'm afraid to jump into it because I know my personality well enough to know that when I get wrapped up in something, I
Mm.
am just like, just you won't see me for months.
You're like door
So
shut, phone off, like don't
yeah,
even
don't
try.
don't touch,
Yeah.
don't talk to me. I'm off the clock.
Yes.
Mama is gonna go do her thing. So yeah,
There's a
but
lot of storyline in it too, so I feel
uh,
like if you're like a storyline person, like I can totally see like getting wrapped up in the game. Yeah.
I'm sold. I may as well just give into it. So Justify, welcome so much. Thank you so much for spending some of your time with me today, and welcome to Conversations with the Queen. Can you tell us just a little bit about yourself?
Yes, I would love it, and thank you for having me here. I appreciate you. So I am born and raised Orlando, Florida, local. And I would say like I'm a not a jack of all trades, but I definitely am very art like I've gotten to this point now where I've really seen myself as just an artist. I've struggled with that over time being like the struggling artist of like, having to have like a 9 to 5, but then wanting to be creative and like just be in the arts and like always do things like, like paint and draw. I have a makeup background, herbalism background. I did dabbled a little bit into like, esthetician, massage and stuff, but even I know that we're going into it, even tarot, down to that, into the craft itself. So I've always seen myself as just an artist, overall. I definitely also identify as a witch as well. So that's definitely, the craft. Anything artsy in that realm is whether it's the mystic arts or the fine arts like dancing, I go dance. So honestly, I'm just like embrace. I mean, also in a tattoo apprenticeship as well. So I know that's like a lot. You're like, oh my gosh, what haven't you not done? But yeah, I don't know. I like to explore the arts and see like what works for me and like what isn't really my thing. But I would say that's just like the skim of the iceberg. Will you have it? Yeah.
Well, and I love too that as you can see, I got my tattoos here, and of course the makeup thing. I love that you make the connection that there is that art. I mean, art on the skin is another high form of art because I feel I cannot do anything with a paintbrush and a canvas, but give me a makeup brush and eyeshadow.
Oh,
This emerges. So it's like
speak for
art
the
is art.
gods.
Oh, thank you, thank you. I
Yeah.
really wasn't fishing for compliments, I promise. But
Oh no, you look fabulous, darling.
so, and you said you also like what brought you to the world of tarot? Was it through your practicing witch, or did the tarot come first and the witch came next? Like what brought you to it?
That's actually a really good question. I don't think anybody's ever asked that. So actually the tarot or divination or cartomancy, I would say, actually came to me first, in high school. I would say started off with a friend of mine. She kind of introduced me to Avalon. And then I just literally like once she introduced me and she did a reading for me like way back when, like when I was in high school, and her name was Crystal. And she like introduced me to it. She had this fairy deck and it's beautiful. And she did a reading and I just really connected with it. And I was like, wow, this is such a helpful tool. And I just love it because it was like just how these cards can like really, illuminate and reflect things that maybe like I didn't know or see. And I was like, this is really awesome. So that's why I really think I just love the journey of the mystery in general. Um, I would even use the word like arcane as that's very like the term mystery. Like I just always found myself very curious person. I've always been a very curious person. Like I question things, especially when it came to like religion. So I feel like for me that this was more like my path than trying to stay in like not that there's anything wrong with uniform religion, but I kind of felt like I wanted to define my own path. And I think with tarot or any cartoman divination, I felt like that was like my way of figuring it out on my own. And I think later down the road, that kind of sparked my spiritual journey. And then from there, I was figuring out what path really worked for me. I was learning about like shamanism, etc., all these things, and I really felt like that was wonderful. I learned a lot, but it didn't feel right until I really found the path of the witch, and I was like, this is it. So and yeah, ever since then it just stuck. So, and then I've incorporated divination or tarot into my day-to-day life. I've done it for like clients in the past. I still have people come up and ask me here and there for readings. So yeah.
Sounds like it was quite the journey to arrive, and it sounds to me like tarot was a companion along that journey to help you navigate that.
Absolutely.
Awesome. How long have you been reading tarot?
For myself, I since like after I graduated in 2010 from high school. So I'd say like from then and then till like the pandemic really I think was a wild journey for everybody, but that
Mhm.
was my catalyst for doing it more professionally, which is really wild to say. I was working at Cocktails and Screams here in Orlando as the tarot reader, one of the tarot readers in the back, and that was a challenging time because like some people were there, people were not sure what was going on with things, but we ended up making it work out. And I would have like I've had a schedule, I had clients, so I had people come and see me in the back, and I think from there I really felt more confident once I was doing it for other people, not just for myself. That really did like I would say like elevate my senses of like connecting deeper with the cards and especially like getting the feedback, not that I necessarily need it, but it's super helpful getting the feedback from the clients that have had. Like one time I was at horror nights like years later and I got out of one of the houses with a friend and this person like this girl comes running behind me because I was always wearing my like black rimmed hat. So
Mhm.
I think she recognized, she's like, "Oh my God, I think I remember you. You did a reading for me like way back when." Da, da, da. I was like, "Oh my gosh." She's like, "Everything you said like was so true and da da da. It was so helpful." I was like, "Oh my gosh, like don't remember fully, but because I have read so many people, but I'm like, but I'm glad. I was like, I'm glad it was super helpful. And so things like that, like really do, I think, bring life to me and like really fulfill me. And I'm glad I can provide that for other people as well. So yeah.
Yeah, and I love that you said too that doing the reading wasn't a way to like it's nice to get the acknowledgement to know that you're on track. Not necessary, but it's really nice to say it's nice to hear from people that, I know exactly where this is what this is talking about because I feel that we as tarot readers, it's our job. I almost feel like we're like interpreters. It's our job to see the symbols and interpret them, but the meaning is the person sitting across the table for me, or sitting on the other side of the camera or on the other side of the phone if I'm doing a virtual reading for them. But the person that really is making the meaning is not me as the reader and the interpreter of the cards, but the person who's receiving the reading,
Hmm.
and it's like up to them to say, okay, I'm just giving you what I'm seeing here, but you also get to participate in finding the meaning behind this and what this could pertain to.
Yeah, a lot of times I would just be like, "I'm just the mailman. I'm just delivering the message,
I'm
like,
just
this
delivering the
is
little cards. I'm just
I'm
delivering the
just
postcards.
reading it. How you get it is what you get." I mean, though, I will say there are times where, like, yes, I'm just delivering the message, but sometimes there are things that come through that are like, "Oh," like, so, like, it really depends, or, like, they'll just start crying, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like, this is wild," and then they'll, like, share, but I mean, it'll connect, and I like that because, like, I'm glad I can be and create a safe space that that person can feel vulnerable enough to, like, that whatever one card or the whole spread, like, really, like, connected to them, and they felt, like, valid, and they felt, like, heard, and they felt seen, and, like,
Mhm.
their whatever question or whatever it was, like, really vibed with them, and that they can release or heal in that spot, in that moment. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's like it gives them permission. It gives them the
Mhm.
permission. It's like, okay, I've been holding out or I've been ignoring this, so now it's right in front of me. I can't ignore it anymore, which I think is a such a wonderful use of it as a tool, just a tool for self-coaching. So
Absolutely.
awesome. Were you known for, was there something you were known for? Like, were you really good with like relationship readings or were you good with career readings? Was there something you were known for?
Um, in my experience with doing readings, I didn't have a particular like style as far as like a lot of my readings are very like intuitive within like the spread or the reading, like pretty much like I would say I've done a lot of relationship readings because when I was at Cocktails and Screams, when I was there doing them, we could have, I think, at max three other people besides myself in that backspace. It was really small. Two is
Mm-hmm.
more comfortable. So then you would have like me, maybe someone in front of me, and like maybe they're a friend or maybe it's a partner next to them. And then that was pretty much about of space that I could have for that. And a lot of people would either do the individual or they were like, I want to do a relationship reading. So those are the most common. But as far as like what I've been known for or anything like that, I just really wanted it to be more so I am just literally like I always saw myself as just like a vessel for whatever that person that's coming to me, whether they were their first time, which I got a lot of first timers, and then or they've done it before, but they just wanted like a refresher. It's been some time, so and I always just kind of like ask them like is there a certain question or were you looking for something more general or just kind of seeing what's going on, and then from there I would just kind of take it. So I really engage with the I want the client to feel a part of the reading, not that I'm just reading just to them. Like I want them to be a part of the experience, and I think that's probably what helps. So yeah, I don't know if that was helpful, but yeah.
Well, yeah, and I think it can morph. It does.
Mhm.
I feel like money, career readings, relationship readings. When am I going to meet the man of my dreams? Are we going to get married? That's probably some of the most common ones we get.
Mhm.
And I've often said this to people too. Said I'm going to speak into whatever you need to hear in this moment.
Mm.
I am going to tell you what you need to know in this moment to move forward, whether that's relationship or not, because it is very much like we could talk about that. However, my cards kind of want me to veer this way, and it's like, honey, you need get your life together first before you're ready to get a man into your life, or get your life
Sure.
together before let's make sure both of you are on the same page before we say I do's anywhere.
For sure. And like
Yeah.
that's a perfect example because I would have like someone ask for like career, but when I had this one client back then, we it started off like in a it started off they wanted to know about their love life. And then so I was like, oh, okay, like, love, relationships. But the beginning of the reading was literally talking about them as a person, like they're very like work oriented, um but how that their work and career life affected their relationships. So like they didn't have their work life balance with their relationship balance was kind of off, and the other things came up such as like they're like yeah like I mean that person, she was I was like she was like
Mm.
um she was pretty much like more focused on like career, but wanted a relationship, but was afraid to be open and vulnerable. Like their career, their work was more their safe space, where like
Mm,
when it came to like connecting with people or another person was like vulnerable or like they did it was like uncomfortable. So I those things like came up and they started crying, of course, and then they were like, but it brought up things that wasn't just like, one thing or the other. It kind of brought two things kind of like together in that.
yeah.
Yeah, and it was really beautiful to have that
Awesome.
experience with them.
Awesome. It's great when we can share that space with that person that they get that. They get that moment. It's
Mhm.
like boom, all of a sudden things become so clear.
Mhm.
So awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that with us, Justify.
Yeah.
Let's move over to the book itself. What
Yeah.
card did you choose to write on?
So I chose, as much as I have a couple favorites, this was one of my favorites, which is the devil card, the scapegoat, the outcast. Yes.
Yeah, and and it's wild because I think the interesting thing is that you, of course, were one of several contributors to the book, to my book here. I'm still adjusting to saying my book. Like
Mm,
I've had it in my hands here now, and it still isn't clicking with me that this is real. This is
yeah,
a real thing. It's
but
so
yeah.
wild. It's so absolutely wild. But back to the devil, it's interesting because that is a card. I think that is one of the big three that tarot readers it gives them kind of the ick. I call them the three ick cards. The
Mhm.
tarot, the tower, in tarot, the devil, the tower, and death. What inspired you to write about the devil? Like what has been your relationship with that card?
Oh man, that is a rabbit hole, but I will try and do my very best
Don't worry. I
to
mean, don't worry. Just call me Alice. I'll
so
just pull you back out if we get too deep.
yes.
So
I think because that is us the devil as a major arcana, as an archetype, as a spirit, as etc., all the things that go there, has been very intriguing to me. I do come from a Christian background upbringing. And so obviously like the devil itself has been this like controversial image in general and in our culture as a whole, on TV, it's a card that again could be also associated with witches, etc. It's bad or etc. And I think because the fact that now at this point in my life, where before I would have thought a lot of the same thing, where I've been more afraid of it as well, like most people, at this point in my life, I realized because the devil card, like the death card and the tower card, there's a lot of like misunderstandings or like just kind of like not really like yes there it does have the connotations of like everything in excess or like the excessiveness of like the devil card, like with substances or whatever it may be. I still think that there's a part of the devil that is not understood or not to be understood in the way that I think it has the right to do so. And I think I see that mirrored in myself as like as a queer person, as a witch, like in society, like as a black person, like so many layers that are only like navigating the world and being misunderstood or not being known or like I'm too feminine or whatever it might be, or and I think that resonated within myself, and like there's a lot of power I felt like within the authenticity of like being who we are and what we are, and if it's horns or hooves, like that those are there for a reason. And like I don't know, like the devil itself, like there of course there is that like mystery and like this like allure and whatnot, which is what it is. And I think the transparency there goes there, but I will say I think what really attracted me to like the devil card is because of there's still so much mystery, but also like there's power, and there's like not just the power, but like it's power for the self and like the self control and like being able to understand where things go out of whack or one end on the other end, and being able to find balance and being able to create that authentic energy, that magic that's there. And once I feel like once you can develop a relationship with the devil, I feel like archetype, and see it for what it is for whoever, how they see it. Like for me, it was more seeing it as like, I find it more empowering, if anything, and I find it like it as much as people are fearing it and whatnot, I think that is like understandable to a degree, but I think it's also like they're afraid of their own power, their own ability to take accountability, which is also a big part of it, is accountability and responsibility. And I think that is what I gain the light in the dark is I feel like the accountable to be accountable for myself, to be responsible for myself, to know myself is that's how I feel like I'm empowered by the devil card in that aspect.
I like too that you make a distinction that at the core of it, the devil very much speaks to fear, whether that
Mhm.
is fear of excess, fear of overindulgence, fear of harm, but also fear of what you are capable of doing versus fear of failure. Like I think that's a very that's a very that's a very poignant distinction to make there is that many people, many of us are very afraid of what not what we can't do, but what we are capable of doing. It what I know there's that wonderful quote, some people fear most people do not fear that they'll failure, but their fear of what they will become, or fear
Mhm.
of that, or fear that they are great. I'm butchering it, of course, because
Yeah.
without it right in front of me, I can't. I really don't know. But the I the sentiment is that there is a fear of that, and I think you said something that I thought was so good. Is that sometimes that fear comes from accountability because I know oftentimes we associate accountability with blame, which then goes into
Mm.
shame, which goes
Mm.
into you're wrong, which goes
Mhm.
into, and I know, and of course, speaking from my own experience, accountability was a scary thing for me as well, because I instantly went into, I'm at fault, I'm to blame. I'm the reason, and I would just spiral downward from that, where for me, accountability just said, you know what, that was my mess up. I can fix it, or that was me. Oh, that one's on me. Cool, my oversight. And it's
Mhm.
seriously as easy as that. And I think once you realize that taking accountability is also very empowering, but also
Mhm.
takes a lot of the wind out of what's the classic meaning of the devil.
Mhm. No, for and like, and again, I think it goes into when you look at the imagery of the Rider Waite devil. I love seeing anytime like when someone creates a tarot deck or I see a tarot deck, I there's a certain cards I like want to see like how they interpreted like the majors and stuff. And the devil's one of them, the magician's the other one I love seeing. Um, but the traditional one is like the two people,
Mhm.
for the traditional aspect, the guy, the man and the woman on the sides with the chain and connected to this like Baphomet bestial looking
Mhm.
creature sitting upon this pedestal, with like this dark background, and they have these chains, the chains connected to the devil, but these like, um I guess like not a chain, but it's like a not a choker, but like a shackle. I don't know what you would call it, but like
I
around
think
the neck. But
shackle is the right word for it.
yeah,
Yeah.
a shackle. So the thing about it, the shackle, which I think feel like people say, is like it's not like tight. It's not like squeezing their neck. It's on their neck, but it's like loose enough that if they realize their true potential and their true power of like again all the things that we are talking about, or maybe they're in a place in their life where they're controlled by they feel controlled by the world, they feel controlled by the substances that they use or abuse, or the people around them or their job or whatever it may be, that's so excessive in their life that they don't feel like they have a power, when in reality, like if they have a moment to wake up and realize like, no, actually I can literally take, it's not tight, I can literally like lift this off my head and remove it. You know what I mean? But again, like that's kind of the double side of the some people, some tarot readers read reversal, some people don't. I do, but I also understand that, either way, it's there's no a really wrong way. I read how I read reversals and that.
Yeah.
So, seeing that. But I was just curious, like, not to deviate. Do you read reversals? Curious.
I do not. I do
Okay, yeah.
not. And actually, there is a little disclaimer I put in the book about reversals where,
Mhm.
for me,
Yeah.
having been a reader, I'm not going to say how long I've been a reader. Well, I'm not ashamed of it. I've actually been a reader for 30 years now. But I know, which is amazing because I'm only 25 years old. You do the math.
Period. Oh, only a
We
little
call that drag
21.
math. If we can
That's
have girl dinner, we can have drag math. That's all I'm saying. So,
period.
but I do remember getting my first Rider Waite Smith, a pocket Rider Waite Smith deck, when I was 14, and there were upright, reverse, meanings in the cards. But I just remember making a decision probably 2 or 3 years later that I just wasn't going to read reversals
Mhm,
because trying to remember 78 meanings was hard enough. And I came to find as I read that the cards will tell you whether or not it's too far, not enough, or right in the middle, with the context of the reading, but also maybe you have pulled that what's one I'm thinking of right here, maybe you have pulled that 10 of wands,
mm,
that the context and the rest of the cards, the entire reading will tell me whether that means you're a hard worker,
mm,
you're a workaholic, or
mm,
if you're just taking on too much burden. And
yeah,
so I do make a mention of that where I say if it works for you, use it. If the visual element of a reversed card is a way for you to learn, oh, this card's in this card's being pushed to an extreme. And the best part about that is it can be an extreme either way. Maybe it's too much or it's too little.
yeah,
Use it. It's not my personal style,
right,
and I have received a little criticism from clientele about that. Like, I had a reading once where the person sitting across from me like got scared that I was turning it right side up. And it's like, well, it's upside down. Aren't you supposed to keep it that way? I'm like, no, that's not how I read.
yeah,
And it's like, but doesn't that change the meaning? I'm like, no, the meaning stays the same because you're here, you're in front of me, and I'm still going to be able to read what it means. And
right,
more than anything, I do this for you to see. I know what the cards mean. I know what's going on, but
mhm.
it was such a wild thing because this client really got like physically, like visibly upset and visibly
Oh,
scared
wow.
that I was switching around. I'm like, calm down.
Honey, it's alright.
It's
Yeah,
okay. It's okay. So
I even
also, oh, go ahead.
oh,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I was even gonna say, like, I've had, like, because again, like, when I do mine, like, I even tell people too, like, especially if they're new, I'm like, like, I let them know, like, I do read reversals, but I even let them know all the time, like, I do, but I do know that they'll probably, meet other readers down the road, and I'm like, they may not do it this way, and it's not necessarily right or wrong. It's just, it's some people like cook with this, and some people cook with that, and either way, it's gonna taste good. So,
Yeah. Some
uh,
people want to use coconut oil. Some people want to use olive oil.
perfect.
Yeah,
See, there you go. It's gonna
exactly.
have a little bit of different flavor, but it's still it's gonna get the job done at
Exactly.
the end of the
Exactly. And also, I think we also need to point out you're wearing the devil card on your
day. Right?
shirt. Like you are
Thank
actually
you.
wearing the you're wearing the card. So thank you so much for being prepared.
I know. I actually literally put this aside because it's like in my closet. I was like, let
Yeah.
me put it aside for this. I was like, let me wrap the devil tarot card.
Hmm.
Yes.
Proudly, boldly, and unabashedly.
And
Unapologetically. Yeah. Have
that's
you
also what I love.
Yeah. Have you found that since writing the entry on the devil that your relationship with the card has changed in any way?
I would say as that, not maybe entirely, but I feel like through my journey of understanding the devil, and I also, because as a witch myself, like the even going into like the folk devil or like the witch's devil, like that has it always continuously evolves and grows, and I feel like through that I can see like shifting into tarot, from tarot to like my practice and incorporating them both. And um I don't know, I would say like maybe not like any drastic changes, but I mean as far as like, understanding like my like when I'm at work or like, if I'm like out and about, like those imageries or like how I interact with people, like I would say remind me of some of those aspects of like, someone's like, yeah, I'm gonna go out and party and do all these things. I'm like,
Mhm.
I'm actually gonna stay home and like, rest and listen to my body. And again, I also mentioned with the devil card, we talked about accountability, which again, I think the accountability we could even bleed that over into boundary setting, right? So like
Yes.
for me, I think maybe that would be that is boundaries, and how I navigate my boundaries within the world around me. And like, they want to go and drink and party. Like, listen, like I go dance. So like I'm
Yeah.
always like, at the clubs or whatever. And like, so that's like my job. But as far as like going for fun or like, when my friends like want to go out, I'm like, listen, I love to once in a while go out and just have fun. But I also like I want to stay home and like watch a movie and like rest. And because I like my body is tired and exhausted. And
Mhm.
if I were to just say be the yes man and just yes, 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 yes all the time, like that is excess. That is excess. Like yesing, yesing, or knowing, knowing, like there's a balance between yes and no, like putting your foot on the brake and putting your foot on the pedal to go. Like you have to find a balance. And I think honestly, that's the most empowering thing that I feel like the devil card has taught me is finding
Awesome.
that balance within myself,
Mhm.
listening to myself, like respecting other people as well. Like, I really appreciate you offering for me to go out, or I hope you guys have fun, be safe. I'm not going to go this time. But so finding a way to navigate the boundaries within a respectful way and how to say it. And
Mhm.
not like being disrespectful, but like, but at the same time respecting myself at the same time. So it's
Yeah, yeah,
respect, it's
yeah.
boundaries, it's being authentic, it's all of those things. I do like to have fun,
Absolutely.
party, throw chicks
Absolutely.
to mass. But at
We
the same
right.
time
Right,
right.
exactly, exactly. Because I think too that we just we keep touching upon this, the devil is the card of excess, and that can mean excessive excessive going out, but that could also mean, like, excessive austerity too. Because
Mhm,
excess is like that's the polar opposites are very are very valid. So I do want to read just the first little bit here from your entry here. So we've got that right here. Whoop, there it is. So
yeah.
living tarot, the devil with Justin. So and I because what you wrote, the way you start off, I think it puts such a just start and encapsulates a lot of the lesson of the devil. My experience with the devil or the witch's devil has been a journey this far. It has taught me so much and humbled me in so many ways, embracing this power, even though I may have had hesitant feelings at first due to my upbringing in the church. This has been a slow but steady peeling away of what is right,
Mhm,
quote unquote right, and what is quote unquote wrong. And I think that's especially with a card that can be as tricky and nuanced as the devil, it's very easy to consider it right versus wrong. It's just wrong when really even the cards that seem to be that very this is bad, this is good, still
mhm,
has nuance to it and still has the, elevation beyond right and wrong. So,
mhm.
incredibly beautiful, and I'm so grateful that you chose a card that I think allows other people to read it in a perspective that's just a little bit less, for lack of a better term, Judeo-Christian.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
is there any advice that you would like to share with tarot readers on the devil who are reading this book? Is there any advice you would like to offer or to give them as they navigate their way through working through the devil and working through those moments?
Yeah, actually, as a tarot reader, especially like having to teach some and like also like whether they're new or like, whatnot, like I would say when I come across, especially because I said going back into reversals, whenever I come across challenging cards or a card that might like, maybe the contrasts are more on the darker side of what it is, right? There's light and there's dark, there's balance of both, right? And I think that's what helps it shape and create the world we live in our day-to-day lives. Like, we need one to have the other. Like, you can't have just all good card, whatever good means, and all bad and whatever that means. Like, you have to have, I feel like there's a balance of both to like navigate, to build and to strengthen our who we are as our person, right? So I don't really like using the word like I've had people like, "Oh my god, is this a bad reading?" I'm like, "No, it's." I like to say this might be a little challenging. I use words like like I like to reframe and restructure, because everything is magic is perception. So if you can shift the perception of someone's like mind in a way that for me I feel like can be empowering, like that, like just instead of saying bad, I like to say challenging. That way it's framed in a way that like looks as this is maybe not an easy thing to like confront or whatnot, but it is here and it is here for you to look at, is here to take your time with. And especially with the devil card, like is such a challenging card to like when you pull it, you're like, there's always a gasp, like, or like the death card or the tower card,
Mhm.
but it's just like, that is a card that I would say, take some time and sit with it, especially being new readers or new people at tarot, like, take that one card and like meditate with it, sit with it, observe it, feel it. Do you like connect to your senses about it? Does it bring up past trauma? Does it bring up, like you mentioned, like religious or anything like that, or not at all, but like just see how you feel with it and like go from there, journal, take some notes, and like just take it one step at a time. And maybe you might realize like, yeah, there might be some things in my life that are excessive, or I might be spending lots of money, and like, not there's anything wrong with that specifically, but maybe it's like affecting like some of the other parts of your life that it's like, well, if I budget more, or like if I like, spend what I need for now and then keep this, I'll have more money here, and then I can go buy the things I really want, or a brand new house or a car, or if I'm drinking too much or whatever it might be, or I'm not going out at all and I kind of need to socialize more. There's so many things like on a scale of like balance and one area or the other area, like kind of be graceful with yourself. Be like, I like to find that because again, it's such a challenging card to be like, yeah, I shouldn't do this and I shouldn't do that. And like, we should on ourselves a lot. And I think
Yeah.
with that card we can. And so it's like really just taking that moment to like acknowledge and to take accountability with that, as that's being one of the cards. Also, devil card connected to the zodiac sign Capricorn. Not that that has anything specifics, but I just threw it
Right.
out there. Saturn, Capricorn energy, responsibility, accountability. That it is a put not pushing completely aside our ego, but really like really looking at our life for what it is and where we're at, and really acknowledging like I really need to slow down, or I really need to like take accountability of this or that or whatnot, and take the baby steps, start little bit at a time. And it I think when you see that, it becomes humbling, it becomes like you really understand the power of the devil a lot differently than being afraid of it, instead of embracing it and like seeing it as like how it can empower you, and not how it can have power over you, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, Justify, thank you so much for having a chance of just spending some time with me and talking with me about the card, about your experience with the devil. Thank you so much for adding your voice to this book. Tell everybody, where can they find you?
So yes, as of right now, social media on Instagram, Justin Towns 316 is my main, or Witchboy Arts. Witchboy underscore arts is my witchcraft, tattooing, arts page. Like all those things that you want to see there, they're all connected on my. I'll actually send you a link to, if that even
Mhm.
helps. There, or like a little handle for that in case people want to
Yeah,
find
of
it that
course.
way. So yeah.
Awesome. And you can find me again, Queen of Glam Tarot. You can also find me at queenofglamtarot.com. My book, Read Like a Queen, Real Life Insights to Slay Your Tarot Practice, is now available for pre-order wherever books are sold. Justin, thank you so much again for spending some time with me. Everybody, have a
Thank you so much for
wonderful
having me. I really
rest of your
appreciate you.
day. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Bye now.
Bye.